Hi guys and welcome back to the channel. Today I've got two replays in the French Tier 8 Premium Light Tank, the HMH 58. Now it's basically the 13105 but down tiered to Tier 8, and it came out a very long time ago. And even when it came out a very long time ago, it's a tank that I always felt needed a little bit of love, and it's mainly to its penetration because it's got 165 pen on its standard APCR rounds and 210 pen on its heat rounds. Now 210 pen on the heat rounds, that's about right for Tier 8 Prem, I'll say Tier 8 light tanks. A lot of them have, well, and to be fair, when I'm saying a lot of them, I know the Bulldog has about the same on its premium heat rounds. There's lots of different heat rounds, lots of different Prem rounds on light tanks with different pens. But 210 was like, it's okay. I kind of wish it had a little bit more though, because when you are facing tier 10s in this thing, it really does struggle. But the 165 pen on the standard APCR rounds is just not good enough at all. If you've got sides, it's good enough. If you've got rears, it's good enough. If you've got fronts, you're just not going to pen it. But that's at your own tier. If you've got fronts and even sides that are against a fair few tier 9s, you're not going to pen. And against tier 10s, it's just pointless, the 165 pen. You're going to bounce off of most tier, well, you know, most tier 10s, fronts and sides, when it comes to the more armoured variety, obviously. And the pen just isn't good enough. And especially with drop-off over range, you're looking at, like, shooting things at maybe 300 metres, and you've got 150, 145 pen, something like that. Might even be that at 500 metres. But it's just, you really do struggle at times with the penetration on this gun. To add to that, the intro clip at 3.3 seconds is really damn slow. Or it's 3.25 seconds anyway. It's just so slow. It takes forever to get this clip out. But the 900 clip potential is pretty damn good for a tier 8 lighting. It's actually a lot of fun to use when you manage to get the full clip out on someone you know you've hurt them, and that's always really, really nice to do. It's got 40 degrees a second on track traverse, which does feel a little bit sluggish at times, just like the 13105 when you're trying to turn around and stuff like that. The gun handling is 2.3 second aim time, which again feels just that little bit slow. Add to that, it's got 0.4 accuracy, which with 6.0 is a hell of a lot better, don't get me wrong. It used to be horrendous because it missed tons of shots left, right and centre, and you wouldn't pen them either, which was just frustrating. Nowadays, you do hit a lot more shots, which is always great. In terms of equipment, I do run the camo net, vert stabs, and optics. Optics to make the most of your view range, because, well, you are a light tank and you want to be able to spot as much as you can. Camo net to make the most of the camo, and vert stabs to make this 0.4 accuracy better, because it's just poor accuracy at times. And in terms of a crew, I run Born Leader, Rapid Reload, Sixth Sense, Situational Awareness, Run and Gun, Steady Aim, Trap Mechanic, Camouflage Expertise, and Muffled Shot. And I run the Camouflage Expertise and Muffled Shot to make sure that, you know, the camo is as good as possible, I'm not losing as much when I'm firing, and then have Run and Gun and Steady Aim to make myself 10% more accurate generally, and then obviously 10% more accuracy on the move, which is always nice for this kind of tank. And yeah, the HMH 58, I've never been the biggest fan of it because of the drawbacks like the pen and how slow it puts out the rounds, as well as the fact that it's just derpy as well. And like I say, nowadays it's not as derpy, but the pen still lets it down a lot, and it's so very frustrating at times. And you'll see that in one or two of the replays where just weird bounces that these shells have. It does have good shell velocity, however. Unlike the 13105, which has 1,000 meters, I think it's 1,000 meters a second on its standard APCR. This actually has 1,458 meters a second shell velocity, which is really, really damn good. And the shells absolutely fly, and that is definitely a benefit of the tank, which is just, you know, wonderful. So, in this replay, this first replay on Sand River, we weren't getting anything done in that position we were in. We managed to YOLO a T-54 mod 1, lost half a health doing it, got 3 shots into him, which was fine, because, you know, that was nice to get his health out of the game. And now we're trying to take a different position here to be able to get flanking shots at the heavies that were trying to attack my guys. That was my whole plan. But now we're being YOLO'd by this T-37, but fortunately enough, we've reloaded just in time. So now we get the shot into him. There's this hammer here who hasn't noticed us. We get the final shot in the clip into him. like I say, I took this position here. I flanked around to this position because they were starting to come through the valley. They were starting to take the cap, and I thought, well, from that position, I can get good shots out, try and stop them as they advance towards my guys, and we can deal some damage and some hurt. And unfortunately, they've now managed to kill most of the people over there while we've been stuck reloading. We managed to get a nice shot into the hammer, like I say. But now we're fully loaded. We're going to go after this hammer. And it's like, hello, Mr. Hammer. One into him. And it's like, okay, number two, please don't hit me. Please don't hit me. Is he going to miss? He's gone into an awkward position. We fortunately get the auto-aim shot into his tracks. It's like, well, okay, goodbye, Mr. Hammer. Just let me get away from you while I reload. I'm just going to hide under here. Not giving the opportunity to shoot me. And really, what I'm asking him to do right here is I'm hoping he'll come down. I'm hoping he'll come down because he's got to take it steadily, otherwise he'll lose a lot of hit points, which he has. But now he's down, I can now get my clip into him, which is fortunately enough, he took long enough that my clip was in, and we get to double tap the shells in to finish him off. But now that hammer's gone, it's like, right, I've got to move, right? I can't stay there anymore. So we hit the reload because we've got 3 shells of APCR left, so it's the perfect amount to reload our clip for, and we've got to get out of dodge because if there's anything that was charging towards us, which I think we spotted something down the 0 line, we've got to get away from it, and we've got to flank round, and they'll know where we were, and there we go. It was just behind us, it was the Draugen, and our clip's just about to go back in. I'm thinking, right, what do I want to go? Where do I want to... We're 1 versus a lot right now. It's 1 versus 8. And I'm looking at this going, can I carry this? Well, probably not, to be honest. There's too many tanks left, and this tank has... Well, if I was a single shot, maybe. I mean, I do have the auto-loading potential, which is great, which means I can catch people out and dump clips in and finish them off and, you know, stuff like that. But I don't put damage out quick enough at times. So, if I catch someone out and I fire 1, by the time I get to the 2nd and then the 3rd, they're going to have turned to face me, right? It's pain. But now they're in the cap, I'm thinking, well, okay, there were a lot of people spotted in this middle. If there's one in the cap, I'm going to go up into their spawn, their base location, use the bushes and try and spot the cap. And if I do that, I could possibly get some shots out. So here we go. We spot the Caro P88. We use the bushes, use the cover. This is where muffled shot and the camo expertise comes in. And we try and shot him, well, get some shots in to get him out of here. Or put him down to at least a 1 shot. But unfortunately, with 165 pen at the distance, we can't pen the Caro P88's frontal plate. Tier 7 heavy tank. We can't pen it. And that's a bit of the drawback of the pen. But we do get to shut down the T150, which is wonderful. That's 1 tank down. And we're on to heat rounds, which is great because, well, they've got better pen. But bad because if we catch people out the sides, we really have to avoid the spaced armor. Otherwise, it's just going to get absorbed. We're running again because there's a Draugen, and we knew he was coming for us somewhere. We end up spotting the Caro, and I'm like, well, I want to shoot him. But he's not the one in the cap at the minute. I'm thinking that. And we spot the Oho and the guy behind him. It's like, right, okay, I need to get into position to shoot these guys in the cap because they're the problem. They're capping. So I pull up, and I'm like, oh, that ridge is really awkward. He gets unspotted. We get 1 here to finish off the Progetto 54, and it's like, good. We get 1 into the Oho side, and it's like, well, there's still 3 in the cap. I look at the Caro, and it's like, he's not in the cap. Oh, there's the T54 Mod 1 look. We slap the shell into him, finish him off, but unfortunately gets spotted. And just at that moment, the Draugen gets spotted, and he, on the move, full chat, slaps the shell RBRT'd into us. It's the only way he was going to get that into us full on the move, and unfortunately slams us with it, which is takes most of our hit points away, which is going to make this really awkward. We put it down to a 1v5, but now he's chasing us, and it's like, well, I just want to get this clip in, and I'll probably get to shut him down if we get 2 in. So as we're going past, we get 1 in, and here's where we make a big mistake. He stops, and it's like, I should not go up on top of this ridgeline because he's clearly going to be ready for me, and he shuts me down. That was a big, big mistake. We should have not done that. We should have veered off to the left, and we probably would have survived. But it is what it is. We finished with 6 kills, 5.9k damage, the ace tank at the high caliber, Top Gun Defender medal, 1327 base XP on a loss, which is a pretty solid result for this tank. 576 assisted. If we just hadn't made that mistake, we probably could have tried more to carry that game as if we could. It was kind of like everyone was in the sort of perfect range for health and stuff like that, except for the Ho-Ho, but he was a big, lumbering, slow heavy that we could probably outspot and outmaneuver. It's one of them games where you're looking at it going, we probably could have done quite a lot there, but just it's one of those in the heat of battle, in the moment things, right? Where he stopped dead and sat on top of that ridgeline waiting, where if I thought about it for a split second longer, I probably could have been stop it, or yeah, I probably could have maneuvered the other way and therefore just avoided his shell and got away from the situation, right? It's just a shame that he hit us really on the move to take off all of our hit points. But hey, that's what happens these days with the hyper accuracy of everything. So we're on the second replay, and this time we're on Fisherman's Bay. And hopefully things will go a little bit nicer for us in Fisherman's Bay, right? It's never good to be on a loss, or to dwell on a loss anyway. So on Fisherman's Bay, we're taking this little position over here at E6. Now, we got one shot into the Vanguard, and unfortunately didn't get any more into that little pest. Is what it is, and now we've got this Oho in front of us, and I'm looking at this. 165 pen is going to struggle with this, guys, unless it's the absolute flat side. We managed to get the one shot into his flat side. Now there's a Tiger 1. We damage his ammo rack, and it's like, I know where that ammo rack is, below the turret. Detonation! Get in! Straight off. Blew his head off. Sky high. Beautiful when that happens. Because if you don't know, the Tiger 1 and the Tiger 2, and all the variants of the Tigers, have their ammo rack directly in the middle bar below the turret. So if you hit them straight in the middle of the tank, just below the turret, the likelihood is you're going to damage the ammo rack if you've got high enough module damage, or alpha, really. And the fact is, we damaged the ammo rack with the first shot, and I looked at it and went, oh my goodness, I could blow it here with the second shot. And we aimed directly for the middle, and fortunately enough, it is RNG, but fortunately enough, it detonated the ammo rack, and we got 1,000 hit on that guy. Absolutely beautiful. Then we got the two shots into that Super Chaffee, I think it was, that came yelling in, and we're up to 2.6k damage and 684 assistance so far. We take a small hit from artillery on splash. Fortunately enough, didn't lose any more hit points. But now we're waiting for the reload to go in. And I'm moving to the position over here because I'm expecting this Oho and TD, which is a Sturm Tiger P, to come across this gap. And if they come across this gap, then I'm going to have the perfect ambush position for my clip. But they don't seem willing to come across this gap. My two heavy tanks are doing enough of a job to hold them up. And it's like, well, I'm spending just a little bit too long here. I'm being a little bit too ineffective for too long. And we don't want to do that. So we are going to move away and basically try and get behind these heavy tanks in the town. And as we move, it's like, oh, hello, Mr. IS-6. So we get one in. We get two in, and this is where it feels like it's a little bit, it's just slow to get the shells in. But fortunately enough, that IS-6 had no awareness whatsoever, and we managed to dump the whole clip in to finish him off. That's where the tank could be pretty poor, when it's dropping the clip, right? Because after that second shot, the likelihood is a lot of the time they would have been turned into faces, and most would have been able to get round and face you before you got the final shell out, and you, with no hope of penning an IS-6. But fortunately enough, like I say, he had no awareness and he just didn't bother. Now we're coming up behind the Oho and the Sturm Tiger P, and it's like, well, hello boys, let me get some shots in. We get behind the Sturm Tiger P, end up ricocheting, it's like, oh god damn it, okay, I'm going to track and pen this guy. Nope, no pen. Try and track and pen him again. No pen again, and not even a track that time. That's where the poor penetration came into play. We couldn't track and pen a Sturm Tiger P, which is basically a Ferdinand, from the back. From the back, we couldn't do it. It's just painful. It's really annoying when you like that with the pen. Now we've got this Oho. I'm looking at this going, will I pen that? Apparently I do. But it's like, okay, let's get a shot at the Sturm Tiger P. We try and shoot him, but unfortunately hit that pole coming from the boat. I think it was the mast. It's like, god damn it. Come on, RNG. Don't take these shells away from me. And then the Sturm Tiger P was looking at it, and it's like, absolutely, positively not. I'm not taking a big shell from him. And so we go for the reload, and we're going to go and relocate. This time we're going to relocate so that we're up behind this Sturm Tiger P again, so that we can, well, try and farm the back of him and hopefully pen it this time. Would be nice. It's only got 100mm of back armor. You know, we should be penning that with 165 pen, I'd hope. So we're going to reverse into position to hopefully spot him. But he's actually nipped away very, very quickly, which is very, well, it's very surprising. I thought it completely caught me out. I thought, wow, he got there quick. But fortunately enough, we've got the back end of this guy, so it's like perfect. We're going to pen this every time. We get one in. He's a one-shot now. Then we ricochet. It's like, well, okay. Then we ricochet again. And it's like, how? How have we just ricocheted those shells? It's 165 mil of pen. It's only got 100 millimeters of armor on the back. And it's only, if you look at the armor model, it's only 100 millimeters on the back. There's no spaced armor on the back. And we ricocheted twice. One off of the little canister thing that was on the back, so I could maybe appreciate ricocheting that on a snapshot. But the second shot that bounced off his flat back end, that was slightly angled, ever so slightly, ricocheted. It's like, oh, come on. It's where the pen lets you down compared to a fair few other tanks, and it's just annoying at times when it does stuff like that. And you never know. We're 4v4 at the minute. That sort of thing can cost you. He could end up coming behind us and slapping a shell in and finishing us off, right? That's just the way it is. It's where the cookie crumbles. We know where the other two guys are, though. They're up here somewhere. We know the art is probably in this dip behind us. So we're going to reverse up and see if we can spot any of them, or if we can, finish this artillery off. So as we pop over, there's the UDES. It's like, oh, poo, there he is. Right, get the shots in. We got one in, we got two in, and then it's full reload and try and get away from this guy. Fortunately enough, he misses. I do know I've got shooters on these guys, though. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to end up putting myself here. And I'm just like, please, UDES, YOLO me. Come here, boy. YOLO me, because my friends are going to shoot you. And fortunately enough, one got one in. One got another one in. And now we reloaded. We shut him down. Now the Hellcat's coming. It's like, hello, Hellcat. Goodbye, Hellcat. And then we get hit from behind. And I'm like, artillery? No, that was probably the Sturm Tiger P firing HE and missing. It just splashed us for a decent amount. It's like, well, that was kind of lucky. But, hey, like I say, we knew we had shooters on that mid-ridge. And I was never going to get away from the gun line of that UDES, so instead I tempted him to do something silly. And that was YOLO me, because when he YOLOs me, he comes from a relatively safer position to a very, very dangerous position, and he was always going to get shot at. And fortunately enough, it meant that I could finish him off. And then I got to finish off the Hellcat as well, because fortunate. Now we've got behind the GW Panther. It's like, well, hello, Mr. Panther of the GW variety. You are gone. And there we go. We're now reloading. We know exactly where the Sturm Tiger P is. He's towards the town somewhere, over in that direction. So we've got the heat in, which means we're going to be able to pen him this time and not ricochet randomly. And we're going to go chasing after him. We're up to 5.4k damage, 1600 assistance, which is, again, a really nice game for the HMH 58. Or the HMH Modele 58 or whatever it is. It's a tank that Gizmo absolutely loves. He made me play it on stream every time I streamed and he was in the chat. He was like, yep, HMH 58. It's like, oh, Gizmo, come on. So I randomly took this out and it's like, for Gizmo! Again, as I think the last video I put on this channel was in this tank was, I think the title was for Gizmo. It's like, Gizmo, this one's for you, because I know you loved this tank randomly, even though I absolutely detested it. Still don't like it, particularly, because it's very, very frustrating. Is what it is. We, unfortunately, don't get anywhere near that Sturm Tiger P. And he gets shut down by the UDES 03. And we're finished with the victory. 6 kills, 5.4k damage, 1600 assistance. Ace tanker, top gun, high caliber. The 2.3k base XP. A really nice game for the HMH 58. So as always, everybody, thank you very much for watching. I'll see you next time.
A great success!